welcome back to Mama Tried. Today I'm going to be doing a highly requested video, which is meal prepping. So I'm going to be doing a little bit for Luxie and a little bit for myself. I would really appreciate it if you would go ahead and like this video. It really helps support my channel and I'd appreciate it so much. And if you are subscribed with the bell notification on, I love ya. But let's get started.
First, I'm going to be preheating my oven to 400 degrees. And then I'm going to be lining this muffin pan with some silicone liners. These things are lifesavers. I'll link some in the description if you're interested. Now I'm going to be cracking 12 eggs into a large mixing bowl. Now I'm going to be adding about a tablespoon of mustard into the eggs and about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Now I'm going to be adding a teaspoon of black peppercorn, or about a teaspoon. I really never measure, but that's how much I think it is. About a teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. Same for some garlic powder. I probably actually added 2 teaspoons of garlic powder and about a teaspoon of onion powder as well. And finally, probably 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. You can change this up depending on your preferences when it comes to seasonings. If you want to add more, add more. If you want to add less, totally up to you. Now I'm just going to be using an immersion blender to blend everything together. You could also put everything in just a regular blender if you'd like, but I like to do it this way. Now I'm adding in about a 1/4 cup of cow's milk. You can use whatever kind of milk that you'd like. If you're dairy free, you can go that route. And I'm using about a 1.5 cups of sharp cheddar cheese. After this, I'm going to be adding one 7.5 ounce bag of some turkey. I was going to use sausage, and I normally do use sausage, but the stores around here are totally sold out and they have been for weeks. So I don't know what's going on with that, but there's no sausage. And now I'm just adding in some spinach and blending that all together again. If you don't want everything to be like the same consistency, if you want some chunky pieces in there, you can just cut up smaller pieces and put it in with the egg mixture and just stir it together. But I kind of liked it all the same consistency this time. Now I'm just going to fill up the silicone liners about 75% full so that way they don't spill over. And I'm going to bake that for about 25 minutes. Since I did have a lot left over, I just put it in an 8x8 silicone baking dish and baked that for about 30 minutes, about 30 minutes. And I just sprinkled the rest of the shredded cheese on top. That way I just kind of made like a casserole. No wasting around here. While that's baking, I'm just going to move on to the next thing. So I'm going to be making a lot of pancakes. This is one of my favorite freezer items. I either do pancakes or waffles to keep in the freezer for Luxie if we're having a busy morning or I'm not eating breakfast with her. It just saves a lot on dishes and just all the hassle of crazy mornings. So I'm just making some Kodiak cakes. I'm doubling that recipe, so just whatever pancake mix that you'd like, you can add that, but I double it so I have plenty. And then I'm adding, of course, some spinach and some blueberries. And then I'm just going to use that immersion blender again to blend everything together. This little thing is so handy, especially on my meal prep days, because I can just rewash everything as I'm going, so that way I don't have so many different cooking tools and utensils everywhere. Then after I've blended all of that up pretty well, I'm just going to add some cinnamon in there because cinnamon also has a lot of antioxidants, as do blueberries and spinach. And I'm just trying to keep our antioxidants at an all-time high these days. You know, if you know, you know. Ooh, I almost forgot. I added probably a tablespoon of monk fruit just because I had it left over and I was like, that would probably make them a little bit sweeter. You could also add honey in there or stevia or maple syrup if you want to make them a little bit sweeter. Or if you just want to leave it at the blueberries, they're perfectly fine just like that. So I have my griddle set at 300 degrees and I sprayed it with olive oil, and now I'm just putting little pancakes on there, and then when they start to bubble like that, that's how you know that they're done. So I just flip them over and then continue that until all of the pancakes are done. And once they are finished, I'm just going to put them on a cooling rack and flash freeze them. So I'm going to stick them in the freezer for about 15 minutes, so that way they are cooled off and just a little bit frozen, so that way I can put them all in a bag and they won't stick together. That's why I do all of the flash freezing, because I don't want all of this to be stuck together. That's such a hassle. Now my egg bites are done, so how I check them is just by sticking a toothpick in them, and if it comes out dry, then they're done. So I'm going to flash freeze those as well, and I'm finishing up on these pancakes here, and then I'll go over to those because they are so hot. I burned my fingers just putting them on the cooling rack anyway, but you know, whatever. Okay, let me say a little bit more about flash freezing because I've had so many questions about it in the past. So after you have taken them out of the freezer and they've been in there for about 15 minutes, you put them all in a bag. Now to reheat, you just take them out of the freezer and put them on a plate or on a paper towel and microwave them the first time for 30 seconds. And then if they are not thawed out and warm enough, then you can put them back in for 15 or 10 seconds, and then they should probably be fine. It all depends on the size of the pancakes or waffles that you are making, but it is so incredibly easy and helpful on those busy mornings, and sometimes you can just pop them in the toaster.
So while we're all here, I'd like to address some things. First of all, this is delicious. Second of all, I know I put spinach in everything. I know. It's obvious. I do it. So if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. I'm not a nutritionist. I never claimed to be. I'm not a chef. Never claimed to be. All I do is the best that I can do for my child. So I'm just saying that because every once in a blue moon, I'll get a hater tater tot, and you're not welcome here, okay? You're not gonna bring me down because I know I'm doing the best I can for my child. And I want you mamas to remember that too. Anytime you get hit with some negative energy from someone who doesn't know any better, pray for them, because they need it. Also, another thing that I want to address is meal prepping is messy. Cooking in general is messy. It gets on the floor, gets on your clothes, gets everywhere. But the key to making it all work is cleaning in between. So don't overwhelm yourself. Don't overwhelm yourself with too many recipes. If you haven't done it before, I would start with like 3 different things. Maybe even 2 different things, and go from there. See what you can handle, because I have overwhelmed myself in the past. I know you guys have seen that monthly toddler meal prep video where I made like 30 recipes in one day. My back hurts so freaking bad, and that was unnecessary. It was unnecessary, but when Luxie was a baby, I had a lot more time than I do now. So I limit it. I make sure to leave room for error for myself, and I'm trying my best to only make my to-do list as big as my day, and not bigger, not a week's worth of to-dos, only one day. So another thing to keep in mind, my life is not perfect. The sink is full of dishes right now. The dishwasher is full of clean dishes. I need to put them away. It's just life. You just have to go with the flow and stay happy.
Now this is something that I definitely do every single week. I prep, wash, do all those things to the berries because I am not about to cut up berries and wash them every single time Luxie wants some because she eats them all the time. So save yourself the hassle, just do it all at once. It is worth it, I promise. So how I like to clean my fruits and veggies is just by using a spray, and I'll spray everything down and let it sit for about 5 minutes. And I have a little colander that sits inside of a tub, so I'll just basically rinse it off, but at the same time they're soaking, and then I'll let them soak for about 5 minutes, and then I will take the little colander out, let it drain, and then I will rinse them, pat them dry, and cut them up or put them in the fridge or whatever. But this just seems to really clean them without me having to pick up each individual fruit or vegetable. So hopefully that was helpful to you. Now I'm just going to be making some yogurt pops. Luxie is absolutely obsessed with these. You would think that they were so bad for her with how much she loves them, but they're so good for her. I'm adding 1.5 cups of probiotic whole milk yogurt. Now I'm just going to be adding in some honey. You can sub the honey out for whatever you'd like, whether that be maple syrup, agave nectar, or I don't know, basically any other sweetener. So now I'm just going to add some strawberries in there as well. I think that that's probably like 1.5 cups of strawberries too, or a cup. The great thing about this recipe is you could sub out the strawberries for whatever. I think that the main ingredient here is just to use any kind of yogurt. If you have like coconut yogurt instead, or you're vegan or dairy free or whatever, you can sub any of these out and have the same kind of outcome. So I'm just stirring everything together, and I realized there was a piece of like strawberry leaf green part. I can't think right now. Luxie's down for her nap, and anytime I put her down for her nap, I fall asleep with her, and then I wake up so drowsy, and then I have to do these voiceovers for you guys. So that's why my voice is raspy most of the time while I'm doing these. So now you know. Also, this is a pretty yummy snack just by itself. And I have the cutest little helper. I got these popsicle molds from IKEA a while back, but I will link some similar in the video description in case you don't have some and you're interested. I'm just filling these up pretty much all the way. You could also make these protein popsicles by using the Oikos 000 yogurt instead, and then just adding whatever you want for a yummy adult treat. Or you could give it to your kids. It doesn't really matter. I usually just let these sit overnight before giving them to Luxie. Now I'm going to be making a healthier alternative to Uncrustables. Luxie is allergic to peanut butter, so that's why I'm using almond butter. And then I'm going to be using the Smucker's all natural jelly. And so I'm just basically making like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then I'm going to cut it out and freeze it. Nothing complicated about this at all, and it is so helpful because they thaw so fast. So these are perfect for on the go. I've said this a couple of times on my channel, but one way to get your toddler to eat the food that you make them is to include them in the cooking or prepping process, because then they feel like they really helped you do it and that they did it themselves, so they're more likely to eat it. I didn't realize that I wasn't really filming what I was doing that much here, but I'm just using like a Mickey Mouse sandwich cutter and cutting out all of these into shapes and placing them in baggies to put in the freezer. Now I'm just going to prep some overnight oats for myself. So I saw these Kodiak protein oats at Walmart, so I just picked them up because I'm trying really hard to add more protein into my diet. So I'm just adding about 3/4 of a cup to each container. I'm only making 2 because this is my first time using these protein oats, so I wanted to make sure that I actually liked them. Now I'm going to be using 1/4 cup of chia seeds into both. Now I'm using a cup of almond milk. I did not know that this was the vanilla almond milk whenever I bought it, but these overnight oats were so good, so I'm just going to make it the same way next time. Now I'm just adding in some sugar-free maple syrup. I'm going to stir everything really well. Now I'm just going to be adding in some fruit, so I'm just adding in some strawberries and blueberries to each one and stirring them up a little bit, and then just putting it in the fridge overnight.
Push and pull is all we do. Life is hollow without you. Ooh, without you. Without you. Without you, without you.
And just like that, I am all done, and I made some egg bites that are going to last for a very long time. I made some pancakes that'll also last for a pretty long time, some little Uncrustables sandwiches, some popsicles, and some overnight oats. So I'm all set for a while, but thank you so much for watching. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps support my channel. And of course, make sure that you're subscribed with the bell notification on, so that way you don't miss any of my videos. But this was everything, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.